You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, it's AFTERBUZZ TV's Game Control Live.
Hey guys, and welcome to Game Control Live to some sweet Ninja Gaiden 2 beats. I love this song so much. I'm glad I finally got to put it in the show. Joining me all the way across the table, Grant Kohrmann.
Howdy, everybody.
And, as always, the lovely Raychul Moore, running late today.
I know.
Running late.
Sorry. Hi, guys.
I'm throwing my pen down. I'm so angry. Actually, that hops somewhere I don't want it to be. And next to me, Kaori Takee.
Hey. What's up?
And guys, I'm Dave Klein, and sadly, John cannot join us. He is off at a wedding in Indianapolis, which is so far away. So in the booth, we have the amazing Stephen Lemieux joining us. What's up, Stephen?
How's it going, guys?
Stephen, also a giant gamer, rad engineer, here to help us out and be a part of this discussion. So,
Bringing rad word back.
rad.
Yeah.
So guys, if you want to call in, make sure to call in 424-256-1729 if you want to jump in on any part of the discussion. And with that said, we're going to talk about Don Matrick leaving Zynga, or leaving Microsoft. I have my own notes wrong. He left Microsoft for Zynga. That is one of the biggest. Yeah, I have it here on the rundown. Don Matrick left Microsoft beginning of the week, and then we have the Game Critics Awards finally came out for E3 2013. Our thoughts on it. A whole number of quick hits that we're going to be talking about. Ubisoft and Club Nintendo getting hacked. Nintendo having trouble with a web domain. So a lot of craziness going on there. But before we jump into everything else and our gaming moments of the week, let's jump over to Don Matrick leaving Microsoft, because this was the big news. And actually, before I say that, Ninja Gaiden 2, the song is by Nintendo drummer. We'll have the link for you guys, so do check him out. He does a lot of awesome remixes.
I just want to say before we start, like, I'm looking forward to every week when you bring new music, because I haven't heard any of these.
I know. I like it. I think it's awesome.
I just imagine you
I love it.
listening to these like weird, funky tunes in your apartment every week and just going like, what can I bring next?
Oh, I do it at work.
I love
And in my apartment. I do it in bed at night. That's all I do. So, I mean, you just look up a good NES song and then look for remixes. That's about it. That's all you need to know. Check it out, guys.
The secrets.
The secrets to finding good remixes. Or you can always go to OC Remix. They have a ton of good stuff. But Don Matrick is leaving Microsoft, and this is huge news because this is pretty much right after the Xbox One 180, the big launch. Kind of failure in a sense.
It has to be related.
Well, we're getting news that it's possible, and it sounds like he probably made this deal before the Xbox One announcement at E3. That's very possible, but we don't know. But it seems like it could be related, because I mean, after that, was it like, okay, well, maybe I should head out, and you have to wonder.
Hey, I got something. I left the bacon in the oven or something.
Yeah. I didn't know you put bacon in.
Oh, it's the best way to cook bacon, hononestly. Can anybody else vouch for me?
No,
I think about a stove.
I've never
I'm a
tried that.
vegetarian here.
Yeah, microwave.
I'm like talking about cooking bacon. Yeah.
Dude, bacon's the best.
Huh.
It's all about bacon.
That would be better though, because it doesn't pop up and burn your arm.
Yeah.
So he left, and I mean, there's a couple players at hand. It's not just Microsoft, and it's not just Zynga, but there's also EA. So essentially, EA lost their chief executive officer, John Riccitiello, who I believe we talked about.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple weeks ago.
That he's gone. So there was rumors and thoughts and speculation that Don Matrick would actually be heading over to EA, where he used to work.
Beyond, I mean, like beyond just like the normal type of rumor, like the people in the industry are saying that he might have. There were some higher level rumors rolling around immediately after he announced that he was going to Zynga, saying that EA was also in talks.
Right, it was internal rumors. Yeah. So he was in the talks with them, and then Zynga is who he ended up joining. But with Microsoft now, he didn't even leave anyone behind specifically to take his place. They didn't really know, according to the information we're getting in. It was just kind of like, he's leaving.
Yeah.
He didn't really give his full 2 weeks, in a sense.
Well, they released the CEO released a statement saying that he would continue to work with his team. They would work directly with him. He would oversee the transition, and then afterwards, they need to report to their department heads, who will report directly to the CEO, Steve Ballmer.
Yeah. Who right now is who they think is going to become the next head, potentially will be Steve Ballmer.
I think it's going to be someone else because I think Steve likes where he is, and I think that they've saturated that portion of the business. It's not going to make like twice as much money. It doesn't stand. They do have some room for improvements on the Xbox, but it's not like they have to improve everything. They're not in as big a shithole as Sony was at the end of the PlayStation 3.
Now, I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that this does have anything to do with the whole Xbox One launch failure? Because a lot of those were foot in the mouth Don Matrick quotes.
Yeah, I think it's fair to assume that.
Yeah. I mean, Don Matrick came out with a quote. I joined Zynga because I believe that Mark's, who founded Zynga, Mark's pioneering vision and mission to connect the world through games is just getting started. Zynga is a great business that has yet to realize its full potential. I'm proud to partner with Mark to deliver high-quality, fun, social games wherever people want to play. And it's just kind of an odd timing, too, because Zynga was kind of, as we talked about, losing a lot of money.
They're paying their executives more. They're letting go more employees. Like they're adopting weird practices like, oh, we don't have enough money to pay all of our studios. We actually think that maintaining and retaining our executives is a better option, so they were paying out their executives. Even though the former CEO of Zynga was accepting a $1 salary after the downturn in their business. But I still think that it's directly related to the Xbox thing, and that's what makes the move so weird. Is like you can't sugarcoat it, you can't paint it any like in a positive light. It's still kind of negative. Although what he said is really, it makes sense. Zynga does have a lot of growing to do, and if anybody is going to do that growing, I don't know why it's.
Well, do you think
Don,
that Don is going to help Zynga come back up?
With what he said, like it sounds like he's got a good idea of how to help him. I just don't know what it is yet.
And Mark seems to believe in him too. Mark, who's the founder of Zynga. I mean, we have to take in mind there's all this negative press behind Don Matrick right now, but he is the one who founded and made Xbox what it is.
Yeah, and
it's because of him.
He was there. He was there during the growth of Xbox Live, from like a couple million users to the multi-millions that it has now. Like he expanded, like under his supervision, the service expanded to be the preeminent social media connective service for video games.
Now let's step back. Maybe it has nothing to do with this. Maybe it has nothing to do with the Xbox One thing. Here's another incentive. His first year at Zynga, he will be making $19 million.
That's a lot of money.
For his first year.
What?
Yeah, $19 million.
need his
Actually,
job.
$19.3 million.
I need his job.
Or you can marry him.
And then it's gonna get, or you can marry him. So it's gonna go down slowly after that. The next year he's gonna lose a lot of money. He'll only be making $14.3 million in his second year.
That's still crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And then his third year it will be $8.4 million, but still a lot of money. So there's your incentive right there.
Yeah.
It's a pretty nice incentive. I mean, like honestly, it really makes sense for him to do that because if he had stayed at Microsoft, he's going to suffer through all of this. I mean, he is the person that people look to and quote and point at with this Xbox One debacle. If you're talking about the DRM issues, if you're talking about the ham-fisted responses and like even the blog posting that he posted in order to clarify things, it should have been done by somebody else. Obviously, it makes sense to have the head of the unit pen that post. It should have been.
If you want to play games offline, buy an Xbox 360. Quote Don Matrick.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like, with the whole thing with the architects coming out and saying that, you know, like deal with it, quote, the system architects, lead system architects, like that is the way that you could handle some of this. For him, he is the face of the controversy for the Xbox One.
I kind of wonder if Zynga games are going to change exponentially because they're fun, but they don't have longevity. They kind of get old real quick. And I'm curious to see what he's going to do with this.
Yeah, they do. I mean, like, I was reading and doing some research on mobile games and the user base for these games. Most of these that have the tracking service enabled in them, it's like most people play the game for the first day. It loses 98 to 99% of the users after the first day.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean,
I'm sure that it's gotten better with certain games, but that was directly labeled. That was leveled at Words with Friends and games like Draw Something.
It really doesn't surprise me at all.
Zynga titles.
So Ryan Whittleson in the chat is saying that's almost poverty levels for the amount that Don Matrick's making. Almost poverty levels.
Yeah.
I mean, after
guy.
everything. But he...
1%.
Also, another possible reason he could have left too is apparently Microsoft is completely restructuring how they're handling everything.
Which also,
And
I
it's-
mean, I hate to say it, it makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, it's possible he wasn't happy with the restructuring and where he was going to be or his position in that and didn't want to be a part of it.
Doesn't matter
Like
if he was
creative
happy or
differences.
not.
Right.
Like, the fact that Steve Ballmer worded it in the way that he did word it, and they were so nice about it.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to work for Microsoft because other people that have left other comparably bad positions and like companies and been ousted the way that he did, and I think that it can be called an ousting.
Yeah.
That they didn't do it in such a good light as he did with Microsoft. Like he's looked at as like a saint almost still.
Well-
it's like only the gaming community and the press seem to think like he handled the last couple months badly.
Yeah.
Whereas Microsoft seems to love it.
Well, Ryan Whittleson in the chat says he totally agrees with you, Kaori, that Zynga has no longevity with their games. But that kind of goes ahead and wraps it up for this discussion, and we can talk about it more another week. But let's move on to something a little bit more fun, which would be that the 2013 E3 Game Critics Awards have been released, and Titanfall completely sweeping with 6 awards, including
What?
Best of Show.
Oh, shenanigans.
So, what did
agree
you
with you.
guys think? Who do you think should have won? Do you guys agree? All of you on the chat as well. Do you guys agree? And actually, I believe we have a phone call.
Oh, they hung up.
Oh, they hung up.
Call back.
Say what? Say what? All right. So, anyways, what do you guys think though about the Game Critics Awards?
Well, judging on what you just said, I think it's bullshit.
I'm kind of upset that Titanfall is a game that I definitely probably won't play for a while because I won't get the Xbox
Yeah.
One right away.
It
And
I just thought it was generic. It was Call of Duty with robots, and that doesn't. I didn't think any of the gameplay or anything. Well, little what we saw was anything revolutionary.
They're not robots. They're
That's true.
Titans.
robots are cool. Titans.
Still, it wasn't creative enough.
What you're saying is relatively true because like every gameplay video that they did show, whatever they did show on the press to the press on the show floor or on the show floor, and even what they talked about, it's like they want to differentiate themselves from what Call of Duty is on multiple consoles and develop something new. But still, it has the feel of Call of Duty with a Titan, if
Yeah.
you will.
And it is by the guys who made Call of Duty big. It's by the original Infinity Ward guys. And I have to admit, I love Modern Warfare. I think they did a great job with it. So I am looking forward to this game. I want to see what it is, but I don't think it was best of show.
No, absolutely not.
Sorry to my
Plenty of other titles showed much more shocking content and came out with much more crazy reveals, gameplay. I will say this, I wrote an article on the beginning of the week. The thing that impressed me the most about Titanfall was that instead of coming out with concept art or trailer or whatever, everybody was wondering what they were working on. And there were leaks prior to E3, but they came to E3 with a full gameplay demo. Huge gameplay trailer. And they played, I mean, like, that's what Respawn and Vince and what's his name? The Respawn CEOs are well known
Yeah.
for. I mean, like when they bring their properties out, like they do it well with gameplay demos as opposed to like some cinematic
CG,
trailer.
Yeah.
Sure.
We've got a call.
I mean, we got a caller. Hello, caller. Why? I believe
Yo.
that sounds like John Quick on the phone.
You can tell just
Yeah.
by yell.
Oh, I actually didn't notice
now-
it.
Oh my God! There's some weird latency going on because currently Grant is off on from my end. Currently, Grant is off on a huge rant about Titanfall.
No, we're still
Are
on
we
30
still-
seconds.
are we
We're
still-
Grant's always on a rant.
Okay.
We're still on proper latency.
Well, Grant, what? Okay, I mean, John. So we're talking about E3 stuff, and first of all, how's Indianapolis?
It is raining and muggy as all get up. So you
Yeah.
know, same old, same old.
So you should be here, is what you're saying. Poor choice. John, what did you think about the E3 Critics Awards, though? Like, who do you think? Because Titanfall won Best of Show.
I know Titanfall was sweeping Best of Show, and I understand like why it kind of did. I mean, there was a lot of people, kind of like more or less, people in the industry are pulling for Respawn because you know the narrative presented there is that these are kind of like the plucky underdogs that stuck it to the evil empire and struck out on their own. Of course, they kind of
then got
signed
$1
on with
million,
another evil
millions and
empire,
millions of dollars settlement.
but you know people are kind of you know. kind of sweeping that under the rug. So I understand kind of why they went with it. Personally, I was more excited by either Destiny or The Division, which I think were like the other.
And that's what I thought. Like I can't see it such
Uh-huh.
a clear division, and I can't see Titanfall walking away with it. But like you walked by their booth, and like their booth is just covered with all the awards from the individual press outlets, and then to see them win the Game Critics Awards.
You know, I gotta agree though. I think it is partly what John says. I think a lot of people, myself included, want to see it do well because of what Infinity Ward and what happened to Infinity Ward with Activision.
Right, but that doesn't mean they deserve.
Right.
And then
I also know
another
some
thing to
people
consider-
work in the company, so I'm
You-
like, I want to see them do well.
Yeah,
You
of
look
course.
at a game like that and like how they present that type of award or those awards, and it's like it wasn't like, oh, it wasn't a tour de force with amazing music, a good story, good cinematics, and good gameplay, and they showed it and they demonstrated it. It was more or less one of those components, and it impressed enough people all around to sweep the awards, which I think is a little unfair because there are a lot of other games that were presented at E3 that had better music, in my opinion, that had better, more monumental and more, revolutionary gameplay.
I mean, I guess
it didn't have that.
I mean, I guess you look at what really sells, though, and if you look at what most people think, Modern Warfare is the best-selling game of all time. So I guess most people will probably be like, "Oh yeah,
I don't care
Titanfall looks
what you think.
amazing."
Modern Warfare is the
Game
best-selling all
critics should be
time.
kind of like not part of that. They shouldn't be looking at what is most marketable. They should be looking at what is improving the medium as a whole.
I agree with
Yeah,
you.
totally.
Yeah, Titanfall. While it's definitely something kind of different, but it's not pushing the envelope.
No.
I mean, at least what we saw at E3. This is really,
I'm still waiting
in a lot
for
of
it
ways,
to
isn't
possibly
anything
push
new.
the envelope, though. It could. Honestly, the narrative could be really good. The gameplay could be a lot better, but still, what all they showed at E3, it's enough to get them the Critics' Choice Awards. I'll give them that, but I don't know that it's enough to like say that it's going to be like a monumental game. It could be. I'm still
I
waiting
don't
to
think
see
it's
more.
going to be.
All right. Well, so what was up for Best of Show though was Destiny, which is Bungie's new game.
That looked really good.
Oculus Rift was up for Best of Show. PlayStation
All right, it's innovative.
PlayStation 4 was up for Best in Show. Watch Dogs was up for Best of Show, and Titanfall. So of those
I'm so sad
five,
that
what would you guys
Division-
think?
South Park Stick of Truth.
Well, Elder
That was up for
Scrolls
Best
actually,
RPG,
right? Oh, yeah.
actually.
I'm so sad that
Love
the
it.
Division wasn't nominated in more categories because I think it was sidelined. I know that it was more of a tech demo. It wasn't like it wasn't like a proof of concept or a prototype running on, like the full engine. But still, I still think the Division, for me, was like one of the best, real big, like holy shit reveals of the show. But still, I mean, I guess we're talking about Best in Show, so you have to analyze it on all merits. And for a game that brought everything, music, gameplay, like it's going to be a killer in the next generation, that would be for me. God damn it, my mind is out of it. The Eternity.
That would be the one.
Activision's.
So our Burton on the chat says the game that got him the most excited was The Order 1886 with Ready at Dawn in Santa Monica Studios. It should be an awesome game. So that's what he's the most excited about. What do you guys think should have gotten Best of Show? Because clearly none of you really think Titanfall. So what do you think was Best of Show on the spot?
Oh God, nothing this year. Nothing blew me away. So I can't even remember anything that shocked me because just nothing was like, yeah. But I guess when I instantly think about E3, I think about how awesome the Wolfenstein trailer or demo was.
Yeah.
And Elder Scrolls Online shocked me, only because I don't like Skyrim, but I loved everything I played with Elder Scrolls Online. So then that kind of shocked me. But there was no big like...
I have to agree with you. I mean, there's nothing, which is kind of sad considering they announced a bunch of new consoles. You would expect the game that's like, oh my God, what is that?
Destiny.
I didn't have that much. Destiny didn't do that for me. I know it did it for a lot of people,
I
though.
really like Destiny, but it still
Destiny is
wasn't
the
holy
kind of
crap.
game that, like, when they showed all the demos on stage, when they showed what you're going to be able to do with the instanced worlds in the MMO, how your friends are going to be able to pop into a game and join you on a battle like that, it was a bit repetitive, meaning like they showed the same tech demo 3 times on stage in the videos that they released, and even behind closed doors they were showing that tech demo, that one demo, over and over again. But still, I mean, like, I want to see what the rest of the world is. Music, it hit on all cylinders for me.
I did like Destiny, but the only thing with Destiny why it didn't blow my mind was because it's stuff I'd already seen before in other games.
Yeah.
Just kind of combined into one, which I really
Who doesn't
like.
want Borderlands
No,
2 and
I agree.
Skyrim
I
mashed
agree.
together with Halo?
I
It's like,
really liked it, but it didn't.
I imagine myself like ramming those 2 cartridges or discs together at home, like make.
No,
babies.
I agree. I love it, but it didn't
Brett,
blow my mind.
You make that sound like it's almost a negative thing. That sounds like everything that I want together. Hell,
Yeah,
the only
no,
reason
I
I'm going
want
to see
that, yeah.
Pacific Rim
I definitely
here
want
is
that.
I agree.
giant
I agree.
robots and giant monsters. That is it. That's all I need.
agree, but it wasn't anything new
Who gives a fuck?
or
Other stuff.
creative.
I think this year's E3 was really focused on the new consoles and Wii U trying to like push itself. So like the games were not as
Well,
exciting.
Wii U should have had something bigger.
Next year we'll
Brothers.
get all the games. Dude, I thought Mario Kart was freaking awesome.
Mario Kart 8 did look really cool, but I meant like it should have something more revolutionary.
Yeah.
I'm also sad that
Maybe next year.
yeah, I'm sad that more Nintendo games didn't get featured on that list. But hey,
So-
I mean, this,
Yeah.
when you look at the
Haters.
list,
I gotta
it's
admit,
very biased.
There were it is pretty biased, but I mean, there's 30 critics from all different types of from all different mediums, so it's not like it's just one outlet. So they tried
Best
to be
original
fair.
game, Titanfall. Nah, not really.
No. Original, really?
Well, up for best original game was Destiny, Fantasia, Music Evolved, which I was surprised
that
by.
was terrible.
Rain, which is what I think should have won
I
best
really
original
liked
game.
Rain.
Was up.
Yeah,
Titanfall and Watch Dogs.
I agree.
They could have picked better games. That's all.
Rain looks
Nominate
so
better
good.
games.
rigged.
I should know more about it. I don't know how the nomination process goes. I mean, if it's the same panel that nominates is the same panel that votes on it, then you're setting yourself up for that kind of like
Right.
really like one-sided biased discussion.
Yes.
But if it was like if it was users or it was one panel does the nomination and the other panel votes on it, I think it'd be a little bit more realistic.
Well, as far as Titanfall goes, Lions fan on the chat says very surprised how well Titan did at the E3 Critic Awards. My opinion is, well, will people actually start playing the games that won the awards at the E3 Critics Awards?
I think so.
Hayden Garinge says, I couldn't care less about Titanfall. I think the genre will die down in this new gen. There are dominant genres every new gen. Hopefully it'll be the same this next gen, which is true. We saw Final Fantasy VII make RPGs huge in the previous gen.
I would ask Hayden what he thinks the next dominant genre will be besides like the one that sold billions of dollars of units. Because honestly, like Respawn is putting themselves into a
You know what
category
I'd say?
that
People are gonna
has
get
made a lot
tired of
money.
that.
It
though.
seems to be those multiplayer games like Destiny. It seems like that's starting to
That's
be the
where
new
they're putting
trend.
most of their money.
Because you look at the crew.
And that's why I think Destiny would be like the logical front runner. But I can't really like say like, oh, every gamer on Xbox is gonna think exactly like
No,
me and pick up Destiny.
I'm just
I still
saying
think,
that
like,
I
when Destiny comes out, like there's gonna be people buying Titanfall just because it's
No,
like Call of
I'm just
Duty.
saying, looking at the trend and the way that developers are going, I feel like that's going to be the next first-person
Yes,
shooter.
I agree.
Is going to be games like that are
Yeah.
going to be huge this next generation. That's all I
Yep.
meant.
Always online.
All right. Well, for me, I guess I was trying to think of what I thought would be best of show, and I didn't have a specific game either because there really wasn't anything specifically that blew me away. I had to admit, though, I haven't bought an Assassin's Creed in a long time, but Assassin's Creed 4 Black
goodness.
Flag actually looked really good to me.
You're
I
jumping
am-
on the bandwagon
I am already
right
getting
as it
Black
gets
Flag
like completely
This one
like
looks really good.
oversaturated.
But I'm already getting sick of hearing about this game. I'm just like so over it. They announced it way too soon, way too quickly after the recent one.
It was a
You have to
joke.
understand, though. I was on the bandwagon of I'm sick of Assassin's Creed, and this is one where and when I actually like checked it, I was like, actually, this looks really good.
They're pushing
and
it too
different.
hard,
You know,
too
it's-
fast.
I'm wondering if they're going to like somehow fully acknowledge just how kind of wacky the concept is. You are a pirate assassin. That's like a story that a kid writes when he's 10 years old. to
Which
feel
sounds awesome.
But the gameplay is so repetitive.
It looked different for this.
You're
That's
gonna
why I
have
was
to-
actually
Not-
excited
not
about it.
different enough.
You have just that like it is cheesy and stupid, but it makes the 10-year-old within me just so incredibly happy and crazy.
So as far as most original game, though, I have to say that Rain was the one that got me the
Yeah.
most excited as a new IP. Like,
Yeah.
this looks cool.
I loved it.
The Crew actually blew me away, even though I don't like racing games typically. That announcement trailer was the only announcement trailer for a game that I wasn't, an IP I hadn't heard of before.
It started out really lame,
That was
and
like,
then it was like,
wow.
holy crap! They didn't
Yeah.
like they didn't skimp on the game-changing stuff with that demo.
But as far as like an announcement for a new game goes, that was the game actually at E3 because Watch Dogs looks cool to me. I already knew about it.
Yeah.
This is the game that for me I had no knowledge of. That I was like, wow, what is this trailer? What is this game? This looks really cool. And I don't even play racing games, so that was the one that kind of pulled me in. And then Wii U wise, actually, I have to admit, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, I'm really
course.
excited for because I love Donkey Kong Country. But I mean, those were some of my favorite games, and a lot of them weren't even nominated. I mean, obviously Dark Souls 2, but I don't need to say that for me.
Yeah.
You guys know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of got the vibe. It's like,
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have a rehearsal dinner to go to, so it was great calling
go
in.
eat
and
stuff.
Thanks for
keep up
calling in.
the good work.
John,
We miss
thank you for
you.
joining us. I was crying all on the way here in my car the whole time.
I know,
He actually
you guys
did. He
got
got out
in,
of
and
his
I
car and
didn't,
was
and I
like, "Oh,
wasn't there
John's
to
not
give you
here."
cups full of water. It's a sad day.
It's a very sad day.
Bye,
We all
John.
cried.
Right,
We didn't know how to
okay,
handle
guys,
ourselves.
bye.
See you, John. So, all right. Well, what do you guys think, though? I mean, Kaori, what do you think? Maybe you should have gotten Best of Show.
I don't know if it should get best of show. And my personal favorite was probably Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And of course, I don't think it's the kind of game that would win, best of show, but that's
think
my.
a lot of them
It was up for Best RPG, which actually won Best RPG. It wasn't just up; it
Yeah, it
won
was.
Best RPG from the Gaming
I
Critics
think
Awards.
a lot of them are. I think a lot of critics are discounting the MMO genre, and they're going with what they know will. I mean, like it.
That's like.
I think
don't know.
they're going with what they know will succeed.
Why does it have to be predictable
and
like
make
that?
like millions and
Yeah.
millions and millions of
Yeah.
dollars. It just happens.
You know what I was wondering? And I didn't get the chance to see what this game was. Was Best Handheld Mobile Game was Tearaway. Did you guys see what that was?
You don't know
No.
what that is?
Nope.
No.
PS Vita?
No. Well, I don't have a PS Vita, so that's probably why I don't know what it is.
I would actually agree with them. It's a game by this Media Molecule.
Yeah.
So it's the same people that made.
Because it looks
Little
better.
Big Planet.
Because they rated it over Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Two Worlds, and I was like, "What? No!"
Well, I can see
How
that.
dare they?
It's a game, a paper-based game that's
Yeah.
made in a 3D world. It just has Media Molecule's kind of sense of humor and
Charm.
like their charm and their quick wit, and like honestly, it probably has as good a gameplay as Little Big Planet. But Little Big Planet 2 didn't do so well, so we'll have to see if that actually does well and fans like that. And then being specific to one very specific console is a hindrance as well.
What was
Yeah.
your game?
Me? I already said Destiny, hands
Oh,
down.
all right.
Music shocked me. Seeing the trailer on Activision's like 100-foot screen was enough to get me like riled up, and then the gameplay trailer and all that other stuff, despite how repetitive it was, they only showed one encounter. But despite how repetitive it was, like it was my game of the show because like I'm gonna play it, I'm gonna get it, and they only showed a small fraction of what you're interacting with.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, I mean, the Game Critics Awards overall, I was pretty not happy with the various winners
Pretty not
because
happy. That's
I mean,
middle of the road.
I mean, it's just like look.
They went with the
I was
safe
pretty
bets.
not happy.
Yeah, and it's also
Yeah.
just like I have no problem with Titanfall winning an award or two, but the fact that it took home 6 awards to me is
Yeah.
just like that's overkill.
It just felt like they're really pushing for consumers to get this game, and it felt kind of like cheated.
We'll just have to see. I mean, like I said, it could be an amazing new idea, despite it looking like a Call of Duty clone. I mean, those people aren't going to just come out and make a figurative Call of Duty clone. I think it actually has a single-player campaign, which is more intriguing.
Yeah.
But they haven't really given many more hints other than what's in the trailer.
I mean, it sort of makes sense if it won Best in Show, it would get a lot of awards, but still just like, okay, Titanfall won Best of Show, Best Original Game, Best Console Game, Best PC Game, Best Action Game, and Best Online Multiplayer.
You know,
So-
I think whenever I voted for lists like this, and even on a panel like this, I don't necessarily know how the other people are voting. I also don't know if my vote will actually will win out in any particular category. So I wonder if like any of the people that actually voted for Titanfall were like, it just like managed to be this perfect storm of people coming together, going like, oh, I thought it was the best original game. And not thinking that it would win best of show, or
But I'm sure Best of Show has its own category,
best PC
though.
game for that matter.
But I mean, Best of Show has its own
No,
category.
I'm sure it has its own category, but you don't know whether or not it's going to win the categories that you choose.
But still,
it for.
you say, what do I think is Best in Show? Oh, probably Titanfall. I mean, I guess I see where you're right, where
Yeah.
maybe it was different people voting on
could be
different things.
It
It just
could have
kind
been a
of
perfect
accumulated
score
that
because
way.
honestly, like I couldn't have gone into that as a game critic, which I don't even fancy myself as,
Sure.
and have picked Titanfall for all those categories.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to our gaming moments of the week. And Grant, you had a pretty fun one, so let's go ahead and start with you because
My gaming moment of the
Awesome.
week is cutting you off. No, I'm just kidding. My gaming moment of the week is I don't know if you guys have played Skyrim. Okay, see you later. My
I'll
gaming
take
moment of
over.
the week. If you've played Skyrim, like I have, like a number of the people here have, I've played about 100 hours of it, more than that, if Raptor is to be believed. And you can mod it on the PC. And somebody had the great idea of taking the villager from Animal Crossing, who, as you know, after all the E3 memes, has turned into the go-to character when talking about like that creepy kid. So now he's basically referred to as that creepy, always happy no matter what he's doing, like ripping off Mario's head or going. I mean, like, and the fact that he's going to be in Super Smash. Oh God, I can't wait for that.
Super Smash.
Yeah. So you can apparently somebody modded him into the world of Skyrim, and roll the clip because this is my gaming moment of maybe 2 weeks.
So there he is. He's so happy. Oh my God, what's happening?
Isn't this awesome?
And for those of you listening, you get some
He's
dubstep.
eviscerating all the villagers. He's getting blood on his perfectly happy face.
So yeah, he's a character in Elder Scrolls, for those of you only listening, and he is slicing people's heads off. His blood is squirting all over him and sticking to his body.
Those huge plate eyes and happy smile.
I love it.
I love it.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's my gaming moment of the
fantastic.
week. I went and as soon as I saw that video, I got Skyrim installed on my PC. I was like, I spent like 20 minutes like downloading it off of a partition I had backed it up to, and then I installed the mod, and I was like, oh, this is the best way to experience this character, because he's already like a sadistic looking asshole, and then like when you can go around doing the sadistic stuff that you do in Skyrim, whether it's magic or knives or axes or any of that
He
stuff.
does not at
heightens
all
it.
hit people with nets when he's at their house in the village or anything like
makes
that.
me want-
Yeah, there was no net in the game. I would have loved to run around with a net just like hitting people on the head.
We
But
had
my sword-
like an
my
epic
sword
circle
suffices.
of net heading the other day.
I don't know if you noticed, but I pulled out the axe at the end, and I was trying to hit you with the axe.
I know.
Can you do that in Animal Crossing?
I was hitting her with the axe, and didn't do anything.
Yeah, it
It
doesn't-
goes
it-
boink. Yeah, that was fun.
I was like, no axe. All right, Rachel, what is your moment of the week?
I don't really have one because there was nothing. I've been playing Defiance. I mean, yeah, that's the name of it.
And PlanetSide. I saw you post 2 videos
Oh
last
yeah,
night.
yeah. I've been playing the crap out of PlanetSide 2, which
So
is
which
fun.
one do you like? Because like I told you when I was playing Defiance, I was like, yeah, definitely get into that. Although I probably would say like now, if you had the choice, like, oh, don't worry about it.
Defiance so far for me is kind of like meh. I mean, it's fun, and I'm playing it more because I think it's going to be better once I start to level up more. Because I'm still at the very
No.
beginning. Not really.
Yeah.
PlanetSide 2 is a lot of fun, but I always find myself doing things that aren't part of the game. Like we'll just have.
What's wrong with that?
I will, because you're supposed to play the game, but our group will get together and we would get on the little the little cars, and someone would drive us around while the people on the back of the car would be trying to shoot the people that are in the circle that don't have
Yeah,
cars.
you have to really, really work as a team in that game.
Oh, yeah,
And if
well,
you're,
no, we killed each other.
If one of your teammates is kind of just off the wall or isn't really paying attention or following orders, you can just it's better to play with a group of people who are like really dedicated and going like,
We were on
oh.
Skype, and I mean, it was really fun because we would just turn it into, we would run away from the bad guys, and we would just sit there and kill each other. And if you kill each other too much, it locks up your guns. So then we would all be
I
sitting
haven't
there
really shot at my teammates.
with
so I
locked up
wouldn't know.
guns, and we'd be hiding because it locks it up for a certain amount of time. So you don't know whose gun got locked up first. You don't know whose gun is going to
Oh.
unlock first.
That's kinda cool.
So we're all like hiding and peeking our heads out and aiming, trying to get ready to shoot somebody down as soon as our gun becomes unlocked. It was great. That was the best time of that game.
So
was-
now you know that really just kill your friends, and that's the way to play the game.
Yes, it is so fun.
Admittedly, there are points in the game. Some of the battles get like crazy, but there are points in the game when really there's like nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Like if you're defending up an outpost and you're on the other side of the war zone, like you could go for an hour and not see an enemy, and all you have are the people that
Well,
you're
it
playing
was
with.
get frustrating because I'd be like running to the bad guy's base and I wouldn't know there was any enemies around. I'm just like running, and then one shot dead.
Yeah, that
and
would
then
be a
respawn.
person like myself.
Try to run back.
Sniper.
Yeah,
Tracking
dead.
you across like an open field.
You
Why the hell
couldn't
would
get
you run
anywhere.
across an open field? Like you have to be on even though it's still pretty easy to snipe people that are on the ATVs, like you have to have a plan. Again, like if you want to get across a map or across a ravine, you need to have like a strategy.
I had fun shooting my friends and taking over mountains. I like to run up mountains and claim them as my own.
So
And
there
that's what
you
we
go.
did. And there were fireworks. There were fireworks.
Oh, so you're playing 4th of July is what you're saying.
Yeah, there were fireworks one of the days around 4th of July. So I would just sit on my mountain and watch the
Not
fireworks.
necessarily 4th of July.
Yeah, I don't think it was on 4th of July. Maybe the night before. I can't really remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time. And I have 3 PlanetSide 2 videos up on my YouTube right now. And if you guys want to
That's
play
your
with
gaming
me,
moment of the week. Well, we ask you.
I know. I blanked. I'm late. So so if you guys want to play with me on PlanetSide 2, if you go to my YouTube with the play, go in the description box of that video and you can download it for free.
Yeah, but only if you're an NC. If you're Vanu or if you're a Terran Republic, not gonna work.
Then they can play against me. We can still play. Like we'll get on Skype and we'll play together. It'll be
Let's
great.
play.
I'm gonna hunt
Yeah.
you and your janky ass team down and shoot you.
You'll know it when you see us because
Yeah,
we'll be
just
the
like
ones in
the
the
thing
circle
driving
killing
around,
each
yeah.
other. Yeah, you're like, oh, that's where they
So
are.
you run across an open field and you get hit in the head. That's me.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so my moment of the week is once again back to my usual Dark Souls because I finally posted a couple of videos, Dark Souls 2 videos. I posted my interview from E3 is now up on Game Control's YouTube channel if you check that out. And I made a video for a new account that I made for playing games and talking about games, Dave Control. 'Cause why not?
Dave
Did you
Control.
Dave
really?
Control Live,
I
yeah.
didn't see that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rachel Control.
You should make it, and then we'll link each other's
Control.
accounts. So I made just a video talking about my experience playing Dark Souls 2 at E3, just a 20-minute video, and the community has kind of gotten into it. So it's been fun actually chatting with the community and going back and forth about it. So it's the first time I've really gone out and just made a video like that on my own because usually I do it for networks like this. So it was fun to make one on my own and just have it just so I can do a discussion on Dark Souls 2 because you guys know how much I love that game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I want to see? I don't know if you guys remember, after episode 1 of Star Wars, they were gearing up for episode 2 and they had no idea how bad Jar Jar Binks was for, like the fans and like how much everybody hated him. So they got the actor that played Jar Jar Binks in the film to come back and do the whole like Star Wars 1.5 or 1 to 2 like hype videos. And he was going around like LucasArts and all the development studios and he's like, Star Wars 1, 2, Star Wars episode 1, 2. So I kind of want to see you do that like annoying like Dark Souls 1, 2 and like just like hype it to hell.
You know what? I didn't hype it in my video. I was actually talking about like the things that they changed that I didn't like, the things that they changed that look interesting. I wasn't hyping it up per se. Just talking about it.
Just do it as a joke.
I'll be standing on this and be like,
I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
if LucasArts has hunted down and like kind of killed off that video because it is an embarrassment. But I think that you should go and find that video and mirror it for Dark Souls 1 and 2. Because
well,
like,
so
you
was
can
Star
use
Wars Episode 2 in general was an embarrassment.
Yeah,
Yes.
but that's what I'm saying is like they didn't realize how bad of a poo they were stepping in. And then they had him do an entire, like he did a bulk of those videos. We're talking about like 20, 30 minutes worth of content. He could have made a movie out of his own.
Yeah. And guys, I'm talking about Dark Souls again. No, there were like a lot of big moments this week for me, so that's kind
That
of
would
what
be
I'm
my
defaulting
moment of the
to.
week, just so you know. If you make a video like that, that'll be my moment.
Oh,
So you can like do something else other than Dark Souls,
no,
and then I'll bring finally
it's
the
more
Dark
just
Souls
like there weren't a lot of big
craziness.
moments to me this week. Like there's some interesting things that happened this week, like the Don Matrick thing, but it wasn't something that stuck out to me like, wow, I really love this. Just like Rachel, there's just nothing that blew me away this week. So, Kaori, what is your moment of the week?
I had a lot of personal moments of the week, playing all different games, starting Animal Crossing.
Yes.
But I wanted to...
Yeah, Kaori was on a role-playing game this week. She was
'cause I had
texting
the
me about
week
all
off,
that.
I was just like playing crap ton of games. But I wanted to show that on July 10th, Tokyo Jungle Mobile is coming out. And because there is this protagonist, one of the characters you can choose is a Pomeranian. This is my moment of the week. This is from Tokyo Jungle that already came out on the PS3 because they don't have any visuals for the... Oh my god, so cute. They don't have any visuals yet.
But it
for-
died.
I actually really
Well,
like.
Oh no, they're eating him.
No, he's
I love
badass.
playing. The Pomeranians have been in the game since the very beginning.
But he's just
and
really good.
I loved seeing like huge packs of Pomeranians like go after and kill like other animals. It's really
Isn't that
creepy.
awesome? Look, okay,
I can't
he
play
just
that.
Killed. See, the Pomeranian is all fluffy, and he gets into herds and kicks ass.
I'll kill people and babies all day,
It's
but
so cute.
hey, wait, that
If
looked
you-
like
well,
Dishonored.
yeah, they're talking about if you go back,
Pomeranians.
if you go to like maybe like a minute 40, you can dress him up too.
point.
Oh wait, a minute 40. All of a sudden, I saw Assassin's Creed people
Yeah.
killing.
Pomeranian
Pomeranian crowd. Oh my
again.
God, they're so vicious.
Oh, I can't watch
If you're not
animals get
watching,
hurt.
Pomeranians are kicking butt.
Yeah, you wouldn't play Tokyo Jungle then, would
No,
you?
absolutely
It's all
not.
animals getting
I
like
can't do
eating
that.
and doing.
I would
See,
sit
look
there and
how cute.
cry.
Oh, goodness.
I would cry.
I actually challenge you all to go to Kaori's Twitter feed and find the hidden Pomeranians because they're all over the place.
My real question is can you play a Sheltie in this game? Because that was my dog.
I think
Yours is
you can play a
Pomeranians.
beagle.
So that's why I like Nintendogs, is because I got the Nintendogs version that had a Sheltie on the cover because I had a Sheltie when I was a kid. I'm
Yeah,
like,
Sony's like
I had a lab.
Sony is like, oh, we see your Nintendogs, and then they up the ante with this shit. Pomeranians like chewing on Dalmatians and stuff.
Oh, I don't like that.
No, my Sheltie would be
an issue.
my Sheltie would be ripping throats out.
Tokyo Jungle.
Like that Pomeranian.
That's actually pretty hilarious. But so with that said, let's go ahead and move on to some more Japanese news, Japanese-related news for our quick hits. Because our first quick hit of the week is that the Japanese Xbox One launch date has been announced, even though there are apparently a whole 21 nations listed as Tier 1 countries. Then when the Xbox One will be announced or coming out this fall, end of the year. Japan does not count as a Tier 1 country. It is the Tier 2 country, and Xbox One is going to be launching in 2014 in Japan.
Yes, suckers.
I mean, not to discriminate against one country any more than another, they kind of have to do this with certain
Yeah.
delivery dates. But I also kind of see it as a hit, like to the Japanese gaming public, who have for so many years been just like so unabashedly supportive of Nintendo and PlayStation. And it's like whenever a new Nintendo comes out, it's like you don't even have games to play, and yet
Yeah.
they're still going out to get the portable Nintendo consoles. You don't even have games to play on the Wii U, and yet they're out there and they're just like lapping it up, much like we do with the Xbox here. So I actually kind of see it as a hit. It's like they know they're not going to sell their consoles in the first week. They're not going to sell games there. So you know, like why not wait a week or two and like actually see
Couple
if
months.
people want them. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's why they did it, but you also have to imagine, and my thought is, well, they're already not doing well in Japan, which is really, it is one of the major console creators for developing games still, even if it doesn't have as many people there to buy games. So it
They don't
almost
have
just,
many people.
well, they don't have as many
Well,
people
I
in
think
Japan.
in Japan, they're really, really big on like the 3DS and things that you can move around.
But I'm still
big.
saying that
Yeah.
even if you sold incredibly well in Japan, and then you sold incredibly well in America, just the numbers alone in America,
Yeah.
it's just a bigger nation. You're
And
going to
for
sell more.
publishers and hardware manufacturers that look at those lists week after week, like Japan is one of the countries where the software and the sales list is so closely watched, and like week after week they're low, and it doesn't even matter. Like Nintendo for the last couple years has just absolutely dominated, and they've dominated at a time where they aren't really like doing anything that's like too monumental.
But regardless, my only point was going to be, if the Xbox One is not being delayed, it almost seems like that would further hinder the Japanese market from wanting to buy the Xbox One, because they already aren't supporting it very
Right.
much.
Yeah.
And this is just
hidden
another
clincher,
hit.
though. This is the hidden clincher.
Agree.
Microsoft has already approached almost every Japanese software developer so that they are making games for the Xbox One and no longer exclusive to the Sony consoles. They haven't gotten it to Nintendo because Nintendo has so many first-party
Yeah, but if they're not
IPs,
exclusive,
and it's like,
they'll just get it for the PlayStation.
yeah, but there are some of those companies
Last
which are
Guardian.
saying, yeah,
One
they're
day.
gonna come out- no, they're coming out. They're edging in on that. It's one day, whatever.
Last Guardian?
Yeah,
I don't know if they're ever gonna get that.
someday. But I'm just saying, like, they're edging in. Like, sometimes the exclusivity that they have for the Xbox will be a couple months. Sometimes it's a game exclusive. So I think that's enough actually to edge in on the market, because like if people like these games, like if they like a Final Fantasy and they can play it on multiple consoles, then I think that's enough.
Sure.
I think that is enough. It's the software. It's not the hardware.
All right. Well, we have a couple of hacking reports moving forward, and let's go ahead and, since we're in the Japan subject, talk about the Japanese one, which is that Club Nintendo specifically for Japan has been hacked, specifically the Japanese one.
Nintendo coins.
But roughly 23,000 unauthorized logins were noted between June 9th and July 4th, and apparently there were 15 million attempts to enter the site.
An entire
crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy, though. Like,
yeah.
in 1 month, 15
They must
million
have had
attempts?
a new item go up that someone really wanted.
Now, the good thing about Club Nintendo is you don't use credit cards, so you don't have to worry about that information being
It's
stolen.
a fairly closed system too, so it's
Yeah.
not like it's not like anybody made off with a lot of financial information.
But the thing is, there's still full names of members, along with their home addresses, phone numbers, and mail addresses.
Had to get the passwords too. So it's like if you have email addresses and full names, you can link those to other email addresses from other services.
Because a lot of people use the same password for everything. So that's kind of the issue with that.
I don't know why more of these companies aren't adopting a two-factor authentication, especially for Xbox and PlayStation when your account is linked so closely to all this credit card information. But I guess it doesn't matter. It's not like these people are individually hacking each account. They're getting access to the entire server. They're getting access to like lists of people's passwords and account information. They're not hacking Dave's account or Kaori's account. They're hacking the entire service. So that in itself is it's kind of a point to those companies, like, you're not doing enough.
Well, again, though, I mean, honestly, you think about a hacker, they dedicate their life to this, and I mean, some of them, it's very hard to fight off hackers. And speaking of which, Ubisoft was also hacked, and they didn't say when they were hacked. It was just recently, and apparently through one of the publisher's websites using stolen credentials, customers' personal information was taken, including their names, email addresses, and encrypted passwords. The publisher said no credit or debit card information was taken, but you still need to change your password. So again, Ubisoft was now also hacked for their Uplay site. And this is just it's becoming more of a theme. So everyone was hating on Sony when it happened, and I was trying to say, because I mean, yeah, it sucked, but it's just like hackers, it's hard to fight them. It really is. They dedicate their life to doing this. This is all they try to work on, is breaking a code in the system. So, I mean, I think everyone's at risk. You can keep on trying to build up your walls and your shields, but they are going to constantly be trying to take it down. And it's going to happen. No matter how good you might think you have it built up, and even if you continue to provide support for it, I think the hackers are going to figure out a way around it.
Yeah, they're going to grow with that.
Yeah, I mean, and most of the hackers, like, they're divided into two camps. Like, you have the
white hackers and the black
hats. And you know, there are still a lot of white hats that are doing this kind of hacking. But it's important to remember. I mean, like, I guess after the Sony thing, like, I kind of faulted Sony, but the only reason I felt a little bit vulnerable was because I had used the same password for so many services, which you can't do. Like, it should be like, if Ubisoft gets hacked, if Club Nintendo gets hacked, it should be water that rolls off my back, honestly, because I do have passwords different for each of my services and no credit card information. And even then with Sony, like, yeah, my credit card information got hacked. It was changed in a day. It didn't affect me. I mean, it was a minor inconvenience. The bigger inconvenience was the fact that my email address and one of the passwords that I use was now out in the wild, and they used that to try and hack other services. They immediately went out and used that password list on gaming websites like Kotaku and like others. And then even when Kotaku was hacked, they turned around and used that information they got immediately on World of Warcraft accounts and Battle.net in order to try and get at people's like items and money and credit card information.
Well, silly question, but how did you figure out you were hacked? Like, what?
No, Sony would send out an email saying like, "Oh, you're part of it."
I've never been.
But again,
what's interesting about this Nintendo thing is like, it's like, oh, June 4th to July 9th.
Yeah, that was a month.
Yeah, it's a month you've been under attack and you haven't let your users know. That month is like a month worth of time where they could be pillaging their system.
I mean, also with Ubisoft, they didn't say when it happened. They refused to disclose that. So this could have happened 3 weeks ago, and they're only just now telling us, which is more disconcerting to me. I mean, they just need to tell you right away. I don't really fault Sony. I don't fault them for getting hacked because it's going to happen.
It feels like I'm giving them a little bit of a buy now because I should have different usernames and passwords. I should even have different emails. Honestly, I have the ability to set up forwarded email accounts. I should have an Ubisoft
that's
grant
like theoretically
email.
A pain in the butt.
A pain in the butt that makes it so that when one company gets hacked, you don't have like 8 different accounts exposed.
It's a pain in the butt, but the main thing to me, the main issue is they just need to tell you right away. I think that's the thing. They need to tell you right away when it happens, because I don't think you can protect against this. I mean, obviously they should try as hard as they can.
I love the company speak when it happens, though. It's like, they're like, yes, we got hit and we're working with security consultants to like, it's done, it's over, the damage.
It's the generic.
You already messed everything up. Like getting some security consultants to come in is going to make it so it doesn't happen in the future, but the damage has already been done.
Yeah. All right, well, next thing relating to Nintendo that we have is that Nintendo can't have the website WiiU.com.
No.
I think that's crazy.
So
It
there's a
is really
cyber
crazy.
squatter who
else
has
would
it.
use it too.
This guy that you're not talking about.
Yeah.
Dave's got it.
Let me pick up my Animal Crossing face.
Oh yeah, it's totally the villager. And he's part of their IP too, so he'd be like, I got it. That's
That would
probably
be great.
why. That's probably why too.
That's what we
They
need
can't
to
get
do
it.
is just like for that, put the villager face and make our own meme with that. And
Yeah.
then same thing with the other one for Club Nintendo is the villager. Every time anything Nintendo gets hit, it's got to be the villager who did it. But
He's just like messing them up from the inside. Their own guys like just
yeah.
destroying them.
So here's the thing about it though. Apparently this domain has been registered since 2004. So it's actually been registered for a pretty long time. That's 9
Yeah.
years that's been registered. So but I mean the website, all it is literally links to other Nintendo stuff. That's what they've been using it for. So I mean, who would have predicted it would have been Wii U 9 years ago? But still, they probably got lucky and they're sitting on the treasure trove. They tried to put it up for auction, and then Nintendo tried to file a cyber squatting case against the owners, and they lost the case. So they've lost the case, and now they're probably going to have to pay a lot of money if they want to own WiiU.com.
I think that they will be able to file another case. They'll probably appeal. I mean, these aren't end-all type lawsuits or cases that they file, and I believe they file it with the Universal Registry Board, the name registry. I think they'll appeal it, and they probably will get it without having to pay. It makes no sense. Like
Yeah.
someone got it because they announced it. Someone got it because they saw that Nintendo was going after that and they wanted to market that. And the fact that Nintendo can't get a 4-letter domain name that no one else is going to use for anything else is ridiculous.
But I mean, still 9 years ago, do you really think they could have
That's-
predicted Wii U was going to be
could
like
have
when
if
the Wii came out,
Yeah, or if they did
they just
work.
went out and I mean, do you know how cheap it is to register every
I mean-
single
Well,
freaking
Nintendo could
letter
have
in the
registered it
alphabet?
eons ago too.
Yeah, they could have, but it makes it like
Wii A, Wii B, Wii B, Wii
most
C,
other
Wii D.
maybe
companies
this guy
haven't
had an
had to do
in
that.
at the company, he
Microsoft
knew.
hasn't had
Yeah,
to go out and
that's
buy
possible.
Xbox everything. When they want to develop a new product, they go and they develop a new product and they do the research and they choose a name that they don't think is being used. And then if someone's squatting on the domain, U.S. courts have given them the rights to the
I just
domain in
think
the past.
the
It's
folks
not
at
like
Wii
it-
U just want money. They want to get paid good money for this domain name.
Well, yeah, that is
I mean,
obviously what they
That's
want.
what
Yeah.
you
which is
do.
ridiculous.
Well, they paid for it for 9 years. I mean,
Yeah.
offer them something.
What is it, like
True.
$5 a year or $1 a year? or
Still, I mean,
something?
they're the ones who took it.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, it's possible they did and they turned them down and wanted more money. You never know what happened behind the scenes.
Name registry has gotten out of control to the point where if someone sees something like this, they just go out and register. Like it cannot.
I think the companies should just take that domain name way in advance then.
The
Protect
internet,
themselves
the
too.
But still,
Internet
it's kind of-
Association
it's
for
tough.
Name Registration should have been all over this, and they've been trying to make it harder for cyber squatters in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
They need to follow through with that.
I mean,
it needs to be.
I actually know a guy who had the domain name GameOfThrones.com and ended up selling it for like $10,000 to Game of
Boom.
Thrones.
ridiculous.
Which I think is ridiculous. Good for him for making money, but I still think like,
I
come
think
on,
that
you shouldn't
they-
be able to make money that way. I think that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I know
They-
people that do the same thing.
Well, he did it only for the purpose of getting money.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, that.
Oh yeah, they'll do that. They'll
That's
buy
why
up
they
a
do
shit
that.
ton
That's
of
what
stuff.
cyber squatting is.
Yep.
So, all right. Anyways, Microsoft, they are planning to have a press conference at Gamescom. This is the
really
first time.
big news. I thought this should have been one of the things that we talked about at the very beginning, along with the Game Critics' Choice Awards, because
Yeah.
it's kind of
Well,
hints
it
at-
relates to the Don Matrick thing, but I mean,
I don't think it's just that. I mean, you don't have a press conference because you're. I mean, yes, you have a press conference because somebody's leaving, but you don't have a press conference at a game convention unless you're planning on announcing something pretty significant.
Right. Well, this is the first time they've done it since 2005. And Sony's been doing it, and EA always have
Yeah.
press conferences. It's just the first time Microsoft has done it again. And this has definitely got to be to save face after E3 to try and have a new
yeah.
press conference. Like,
For
forget about
sure.
that one. Here's a new press conference.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah, with their 180 and everything.
Yep. Yep.
They're announcing Titanfall 2.
Yeah, it did so well. Titanfall 2.
Oh, dear.
Titanfall 2 sweeps Gamescom's
Even
Critics'
more
Choice
Titans.
Awards.
Please don't.
I think they're going to announce something big. I think they're going to announce they're going to use this to it's perfectly timed to hit PlayStation where it hurts, because there will be no other chance for PlayStation. PlayStation has expended all of its energy. It's going to be selling the PlayStation 4 at a loss, Sony. It's going to be releasing at a predefined price point, and they haven't really said how DRM is going to work, how you're going to be able to play used games. They've just basically said, like, you'll do it like you did on the PS3, but people don't realize that the PS3 is still a pretty closed system, and it was difficult to develop for. So if Xbox can get one thing on the PS4, they will do it at Gamescom. Whether it's a price change, whether it's like we're releasing it without the Kinect, whether it's like multiple bundles, and they're already higher in pre-orders right now on Amazon than the PS4. So if they can actually come out with like a $399 console that doesn't come with the Kinect, or a lower, like a smaller hard drive, they will do it. And
I agree.
Work too.
I mean, the other thing I think is they're going to hammer down the 180 changes and just say this is what we're doing. I think that's a big part of it too. Just so when people look up a press conference and they're like, "Let me watch what Xbox One's doing," this is the thing they'll see.
They're going to be more black and white than they were in the past.
Definitely more black and white. So I think it's just a chance to save face. So. Yeah. And probably now something new. So ESEA has gotten hit with a class action lawsuit. The ESEA being the Esports Entertainment Association, and apparently this is for client users' computers being used to mine for the open source digital currency Bitcoins without permission. So that they were hit with a class action, which means multiple people suing them over the same thing. And apparently, from what I was reading, it looks like it was a single employee kind of went on his own to try and do this.
This was an issue about 2 or 3 months ago. He left. He says that he left the code in by accident after the development was finished and the code was released to people that were going to use the software, and like it's become a little bit more clouded since the issue actually came out, but it was pretty significant because the software itself runs in the background as part of a graphics program which uses the graphics card to process and mine Bitcoins, and apparently some people's computers got fried.
Oh,
so
well, they ended up making $7,427 worth of Bitcoins, which, wow, that's a lot of money. Apparently, it was, I don't know if this is right, but the article I read said it was 29.276 Bitcoins, which is worth $7,400.
Yeah.
How's a Bitcoin worth so much money? That means.
Jesus.
Have you ever tried to mine one?
No.
It takes forever, and it takes a lot of power of processing.
Dear Lord.
I honestly don't even know what a Bitcoin is. If you could explain what it is.
It's a basic principle is like it's a distributed computing network which runs on people's computers.
Right, sure.
And in exchange for the computation, you get paid these like fictional units of coins, which are highly policed. They're traded, and a lot of people say that they're used in black market transactions on the internet. And that's where the Bitcoins go.
Well, yeah, I mean, I knew it was a Bitcoin was a fictional.
Yeah, but behind it all, and behind the whole,
it's
like,
just funny to me that it's worth so much money.
Yeah. It's because it takes so long to mine one. Because the trade-off for the computational distribution is so low.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, let's go ahead and move to our question from last week, or comments from last week, and then question for next week. So. We asked you guys last week how you felt about the Ouya, and here's what you said. So Joseph Boza on YouTube said that he agrees with Rachel, that he doesn't give a funk about either the Ouya, about the Ouya. It didn't impress him because of the marketability that has been done for it. The retailers aren't that knowledgeable on it. Don't get me wrong, $100 is a good deal for it, although people would think something is wrong with the system if it's $100 for it. Normally, the systems are 4 to 5 times that amount. They don't even count the fact that you have to buy games for it. I don't get the Ouya, that is for sure. And I have to say, I mean, I was kind of thinking about it after I read that.
That's a really well thought out and written out comment.
Yes, thank you,
Especially for
Joseph.
YouTube.
It's our boy.
Yeah.
Especially for YouTube.
But I was kind of thinking about it too, that when you think about it, you go to Best Buy, they had those crappy consoles that were like $60, if you remember. It was like 8 years ago, where we play like, hey, look, it plays 60 games. And you look at it and be like, that looks like a cheap, crappy console.
Category. It really does. I mean, it's hard for someone who knows about it and like who's like tried to wrap their mind around like what it is and if they want to buy it. Like that cloudiness starts to fall away, and you're like, oh, that's what it is, and it's worth what it is because it's made out of like relatively inexpensive components, like a phone. But I definitely see how it can like weird people out, especially if they just go into a store and they see it I mean, it probably is in the same category too.
You know where it's probably going to be at at a Best Buy is when you're at the register, in that little area at the register. I bet that's where they're going to put them.
Next to the candies.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's where they're going to put it. I guarantee you that is where they'll put it if they have it.
If you want someone to run out the door with it.
On sale red tag.
But still, that's where you would see those other ones that were like
I wouldn't even
$60.
steal
Maybe it'll be
an
that bin.
Whoa. All right, so question for next week for you guys. Do you think the Game Critics Awards were correct with Titanfall sweeping? And if not, who do you think should have been awarded Best of Show specifically? Because that is the big one. Who do you think, even if it was something like the Oculus Rift, who do you think deserved, or what do you think deserved?
Tell us Best of Show
Best of
and
Show.
Best Original Game. Because I could admit that Titanfall turned out a really good performance.
Okay,
I just
so
can't admit that it was the best original
for Grant,
game.
Best Original Show, or Best Original Game.
Yeah.
So with that said, guys, that wraps us up. And for those of you who wanted to watch Game Control Rewind, we were going to do Last of Us today, but we just may be having a very special guest next week. So we're going to hold off a week for that because it will definitely be worth it. So taking a hiatus for Game Control Rewind this week, but we will be back next week to talk The Last of Us.
Yes,
and
it's gonna be epic.
And for those of you, this gives you another week to play the game. If you haven't played it yet,
because
another
we're
week.
going to
What you
spoil
need.
it.
What
As
you
I throw
need.
it.
Honestly,
Yeah.
that game is long.
And so yeah, definitely check us out next week because we should potentially have a very special guest with us. Check us out for Game Control Live. You can check us out every single week if you're watching on YouTube or listening on iTunes. Check us out on AfterBuzzTV.com from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific time on Saturdays to join the live chat and call in. Or check out our YouTube on the YouTube channel Game Control Tube. And you can follow us at Game Control Live. And once again, guys, I'm Dave Klein, and you can follow me on Twitter at @TheDaveKlein. That's Klein. Or check out my new YouTube channel, Dave
Yay.
Control Live.
Yay.
Love it. Okay. You can follow me at KAORIOUS. Boom.
You can follow me on Twitter at GAK, and if you do, you might actually catch me taking the task to developers and musicians like C418.
Yeah.
And you can follow me on Twitter, which is @TheRachel, and on YouTube, which is Raychul Moore.
And what about you, Steven?
You can find me here at AfterBuzz every single day of my life.
What about Twitter? He tweets, though. He has twits.
You can find me at Stephen Lemieux.
And guys, this awesome Shadow remix is from the new Final Fantasy VI album, Balance and Ruin, and we had Zircon on the phone or guest, so I wanted to promote the album because it just came out. This is called A Fistful of Nickels, an awesome remix by Zircon
Have some nickels.
and Expert Novice. So, guys, they finally released the album. Go support them. Go check it out because they are some awesome guys and some amazing Final Fantasy VI remixes. So, thanks so much for joining us, guys, and we will see you next week.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.